Live from Canada Dry Hall at Lynbrook University, Canada Dry presents the Canada Dry Lynbrook Mayoral Debate 2023. Now, your moderator, Mr. Mike F.
Welcome to the debate, everybody. Welcome. Like we said, this is the Lynbrook University, beautiful Canada Dry Hall, just refurbished. We are all very excited to hear from the candidates this evening. The candidates today, we have our very own frontrunner, Tyrone, Dickie, and the up-and-coming challenger, Alex Shear, joining us on stage. The format today will be very straightforward. Each candidate will be given a 1-minute opening statement, and then we will be taking questions from the many Lynbrook citizens gathered here in a town hall style. Each candidate will then have 1 minute to respond to the question before we will move on to the next point. We expect a clean debate here tonight. No vamping, no interruptions, no insults, and I am told very specifically that there are to be no sponsors or selling points outside of the Canada Dry that you must mention at least 3 times at points in the debate. Anything to add, Adam?
Yes, I'm also here. Hello. Thank you for introducing me, Mike. It's an honor to speak to the candidates today, and it's even more of an honor to provide you with these 3-ounce bottles of Canada Dry for your refreshment, to lubricate your throat during this debate, so that we might hear your hot takes, your cold opinions, and most importantly, your deepest, darkest desires. Back to you, Mike.
All right, and I think we're just about ready to get started. So put 60 seconds on that clock as we introduce the first candidate that is on the ballot this November, Alex Shear.
Has my 60 seconds begun?
It has.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Your 60 seconds brought to you by Canada Dry Bold. It's Canada Dry, but bold.
Well, firstly, I would like
46 seconds.
Well, firstly, I would like to thank everyone for being here, including the audience and my lovely opponent. I want to elaborate further on what Mike said, the moderator, about no vamping. I am strongly against vamping. That includes e-cigarettes and all such things. As you know, I am a candidate running on the idea that we need more Raymond representation in this town. This town is most famous for Everybody Loves Raymond, the famous sitcom that was brought or set here nearly 25 years ago, and we need to wear our heritage proudly and also get really, really swole.
Thank you very much. That's just in time. All right, and now the opponent, Tyrone, Dickie, your opening remarks.
Hi, everybody. Tyrone, Dickie. You know me. I'm the You see Mike laughing?
Tyrone Dickie, brought to you by Canada Dry Feeble. It's like Canada Dry, but shaky, a little uncertain, and sounds like an 1800s prospector. Canada Dry Feeble.
It was one sentence.
30 seconds.
Let him do it again. That was, yeah.
You know me. I'm the grandson of a shoe factory worker, the son of a shoe factory mogul. And you know me as the curator of the children's literature selection at your local library. Now, I could have gone off and worked in the shoe factory world, but I didn't do that because I care about the bread and butter issues. None of this Raymond stuff. Everyday citizens don't care about that. You know what everyday citizens care about? Economic problems here in Lynbrook, and I know where it starts. It starts in Grandma's mouth. I'm losing you. Just stay with me on this one. I was in Canada the other day, home of Canada Dry, as well as the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. I was kicked in the chest by a Royal Canadian Mounted Police horse as I fell to the ground writhing in pain. I was then kicked in the mouth. I was brought to the hospital. They treated me for cardiac trauma, but I'm still missing 17 teeth. Why? because nationalized healthcare stops above the chin. No vision, no dental, no
Time.
hearing.
Time.
We need to fix this.
He went over.
We
He
did
went over time.
We did go over that. You will be penalized.
Minus 3 points.
You will be. And points are votes. Your total votes are going to be reduced by 3 for the time foul. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Votes brought to you by
Canada Dry.
Mike,
All
if
right.
I might ask the first official question of the debate,
Absolutely, Adam.
I'd like to hear from Tyrone Dickie first. Scratch that. I'd like to hear from Alex first. Tyrone Dickie mentioned his involvement with the Limbrook Library, which, as we all know, was burned down by somebody who worked at the library. Alex, I'd be interested to know who you think that person was.
We can never really be truly sure, and you know why? Because the security tapes in the library were taken away from us and stored in the TD warehouse, to which we know the owner is unknown. But like my favorite sports drink, Canada Dry, always said, it's best to move forward even when you don't have a book to read with your Canada Dry.
Would you like to cede the remaining 30 seconds of your time?
No, I think we should just all sit here in silence for a moment and really reflect on our Canada Dry.
The Canada's dry, but my lips aren't.
Excuse me. You will have your time in a second. That's another 3 votes.
Time.
All right, Mr. Dickey, your response?
Yes. I see that Alex is one for rampant speculation. That's not me. I'm here to deal with cold hard facts and economic realities, and the fact of the matter is our public services are disappearing every day. No more library, no more dental for all citizens. Other countries are looking at us and they're laughing. You know what? I want to keep Grandma's teeth in her mouth and America's name out of Canada's. We will not be the laughingstock of peer nations anymore. We will make sure that people have access to the basic services they need. We will be a beacon of hope for the American healthcare system out here on Long Island. They will look towards us and know this is where Grandma should go. She needs a new set of dentures. And this is where you should go when looking for the future of America. Thank you.
Okay,
Powerful.
so we will take our first question from the town hall. Do we have any question
Yes.
askers today?
Hello. Hi.
Come on down.
I'll need a little bit of assistance, young man, if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. Here we go. Here we go. Here you go. Just speak right into the mic.
Hello. Tyrone, it's Gam Gam.
Hi, Grandma.
I was just wondering, you said that you were going to drive me to the dentist last weekend, but you never showed up.
You know why I didn't show up, Grandma? Because there
I'm not
wasn't...
done. And then the last time you did take me to the dentist, I say took, you called me an Uber. Pool. You not only made me pay for it, but you also made me pay for your veneers.
Do I even need to be here?
I guess what I'm asking is...
That's a 3-vote penalty from Alex.
It's worth it.
All right.
No, give him back. I like him.
That's
I
a
guess what I'm asking is, where the fuck do you get off? I'll take my answer off the air. Thanks.
No, I need to respond here. Put the mic back.
Excuse me. No harassing the elderly citizens.
I'm not harassed. She asked a question. I want to answer the question.
You'll have your time once she returns to her seat. And she's good. Okay, yes, your response, Mr. Dickey, you monster.
All right, Grandma, I'll tell you where the fuck I get off. It's the fact that there is not a single dentist in Lynbrook willing to accept a kind of state-sponsored healthcare. Not one. Because why? Because nationalized healthcare stops the chin up and the ankle down. No podiatry, no vision, no dental, no hearing. And what do you think of when you think of old people healthcare? You think of their teeth. It's a joke. Every grandma, every grandpa, and every cartoon, they pop out the dentures, they put them in the little thing, seltzer water on their bedside table. That's wrong. We are making a mockery of our elderly care in this country, and I'm sorry, Grandma, that you are in a frontline community being affected by this issue, but that's why I'm here. That's why I'm standing on this podium today, to help you, to get you the care that you need. Also, Uber pools are the more economic and environmentally friendly of option.
Fuck off.
Okay, I'll see you at home, Grandma.
All right.
Canada Dry Denture Solution.
Alex, do you have a response?
You know, I'm not quite sure I need to.
Okay, all right. We'll take the next question asker right on down here.
Yeah, we've got one over here, Mike. Here you go. Take the mic. Please take it.
Don't tell me what to do. Hi, this one is for Mr. Dickie again. Hi, my name is Hank. I work down at Dunk This Donut.
Hank!
How you doing, Alex? I got an issue here. You see, my problem here is that because of the tax that's happening when you enter Limbrook, you know, the $15 tax to leave and then enter and leave Limbrook. That tax, as a result of that, we're getting a lot of outsiders. I just don't think that tax is hot enough. I had to deal with a problem from I had an outsider from Rockville Center come in and ask for a Friends-themed donut. This is an Everybody Loves Raymond only town. I want to know, Mr. Dickie, what you plan to do to get rid of these friends-supporting outsiders. Thank you. I'll take it off the air.
David Schwimmer is a kind man. He is a good man. He is a family man. No, hey, listen. Ray Romano and David Schwimmer are two good Americans, two good New Yorkers who just happen to disagree fundamentally on issues. Okay, now I believe I support Ray. I believe that he is the better sitcom male role model, but at the end of the day, this needs to be a fair and good faith meeting of the minds between people who may just leave friends on in the background while they're doing their dishes, and people who really want to sit down and soak in some good 90s Everybody Loves Raymond. Okay, this is we can't devolve into petty mudslinging and name calling here. Okay, hey, I'm sorry. That's my answer.
All right, Mr. Shear, your response?
Well, while Mr. Dickie is busy having a three-way with David Schwimmer and his grandma, I'm over here fighting the real fight down in the trenches with you, Hank. I'm here. You know me. I'm here supporting public businesses. I'm getting my one donut a year as per the allowment of your establishment. I'm out here trying to bring in business, the good kind of business from the North Pole, that is. Coming in here, getting your delicious treats and all that, just to drum up some more of that positive business. Like David Schwimmer, I have nothing against the man. I actually have never met him, but fuck him. And
Hey, don't you say that about my running mate.
Whoa! Well, that's a surprise.
So that's a 10-vote penalty for Mr. Dickie for interrupting.
Mike, I don't want to steamroll you there, but I think Tyrone just announced his running mate for the first time here on our stage.
Oh, shit.
I think we should clip that, and then we can put it on TikTok and stuff.
Yeah,
and
no.
really get some.
Yeah, gotta get the reblogs. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question just on this issue.
I wasn't finished.
I'm sorry. Please go.
10-vote penalty.
What happened to the 60 seconds?
Yes. Oh, my vote.
Yeah, come on. I wasn't finished.
All right.
I wasn't finished in my
Go
opening
ahead.
statement. They cut me off. What's going on
Fuck
here?
off.
Tyrone, let me finish. Okay, I'm finished.
Follow-up question. You had a follow-up question there, Adam?
I may have forgotten what it was.
Oh, okay.
The running mate.
Oh, yes. How do you respond to the well-known and well-documented case of David Schwimmer becoming close friends with O.J. Simpson on the set of People vs. O.J. Simpson, where O.J. served as an uncredited consultant? And also, I do have to mention contractually that this
Debate is brought to you by Canada Dry Blasted Hers Potato Chips. That's Hers, as in HERR''STZ, the only potato chip shaped as and endorsed by O.J. Simpson.
Your response, please.
Look, there's a lot of anti-David Schwimmer, anti-Friends mudslinging that goes on in Lynbrook, and I think we as a community are ready to move past this. We as a community are ready for a Friends castmate, a former Friends castmate, present advocate for the show. He was on the reunion to be in the mayor's office. We are ready for that. I believe in us in Lynbrook. We can move past these prejudices. We can build bridges between people who love Everybody Loves Raymond and people who like to have friends on in the background while they, I don't know, vacuum or something. We're ready for that. We're ready for that. I believe that. I believe we're better than the petty name calling and the mudslicking. I believe that.
Mike, I think we have another question from the audience
Yes,
that we have to
we
get
do.
to.
Hi, my name's Jim. I would just like to say that since Mr. Scheer has taken the mayoral candidate, his thing, I've put on about 50 pounds of pure muscle. My question for the candidates are: what are your opinions of putting creatine in the drinking water here in Lynbrook? What's the 411 on that? And anyway, I just wanted to say that. And first time listener, long time caller. Thank you. Take it off the air.
Jim, I just want to point you towards our sponsor.
Canada Dry Protein Powder, now 200% whey, 0% regret.
Well, I guess I'll ask. I guess Dickie's been getting a lot of these. I'll ask Alex first.
Oh, thanks, Jim. And might I say, love the glutes.
Hey!
The answer to your question is a simple one, and I'll respond to it right now. You see, when we add different chemicals and things like that to our water, it becomes more drinkable because there's more substance within the water. The end goal is to getting our water more and more similar to that of the great Canada Dry. And Canada Dry, believe it or not, has ingredients in it, and water does not have as many ingredients. So, adding things to the water is going to make it closer to Canada Dry, thereby making you stronger, making you buffer, and going to help you protect our borders from rivaling towns. And I can tell just by your muscle that you are absolutely voting R this upcoming election, and that is R for Raymond.
All right. Well, we just learned about Alex's plan for a secret border patrol.
I guess, yeah, empowering citizens to be their own border patrols.
It's not an official thing. It's just, if they want to, they can.
Kind of.
Can I have a minute to respond, please?
Yes.
You can have 15 seconds.
God, yes.
No, look, this is actually one point where I'm going to agree cautiously with my opponent, and that is that when you put shit in water, it is a public health gain, a net public health gain. Adding fluoride into our water supply was one of the greatest public health breakthroughs of the past 2 generations. So as far as I see, just add more shit into the water. It's better for our health. Creatine, caffeine, dyes, Canada Dry Bold and Canada Dry Feeble. Doesn't matter. Keep putting stuff in there, and it's just going to be a net gain. But I'd love to point out, leave it to Alex Scheer to take a simple question about a basic service like water and spin it back around to his national security, town security hobby horse. It's like what he used to say about Rudy Giuliani. Any Rudy Giuliani sentence has 3 parts, a subject, a verb, and 9/11.
No.
You ask You ask Alex Shear's a subject, a verb, and Ray Romano. It's absurd. These are not the issues people care about. He asked about water, Alex.
What about whatever happened to Rudy Giuliani?
We're not supposed to talk about it.
No one knows.
Oh yeah, yes. We have another question down in front here. Here you go. Take the mic, sir.
Hey, my name is Michael Henderson, DDS, and I just wanted to ask Mr. Dickie, where the fuck do you get off? I'll take my answer off the air.
Hey, that's my dentist.
Hey, Alex, you're due.
Hey. I know. I'm coming after this.
I'll tell you where the fuck I get off. And here's the thing, Dr. Mike. You are not going to lose an ounce of compensation because let me tell you, we have the money. The money is there. We just have our priorities all backwards. I will make sure that you are subsidized at the appropriate level of compensation such that you can maintain the quality of life that you've been able to achieve in a private market. We can provide that same level of quality of life for you as well as a quality of care for our elderly citizens that meets and exceeds standards set by our neighbor to the north. I promise you that. That is a promise from me to you. Your quality of life will not drop.
Can I respond?
Oh, the dentist? Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Michael Henderson, DDS.
Yeah.
All I know is that since you started talking about this free dental care, my wife has been insisting on an open relationship, and I'm not into it. So, I mean, correlation's not causation, but I mean, I'm also sleeping in my car most nights, so.
Wait, that guy's wife's hot. No, do it. Vote for him.
Let me tell you, it sounds like you need to have an open and honest conversation with your partner about expectations and boundaries.
Fuck off.
Quiet, Grandma!
I do.
Nobody asked you, Gab. I'll deal with you when I'm home.
I do believe that is the last question that we had for us tonight. And do our candidates have closing remarks? We began with Alex last time. We'll begin with Mr. Dickie this time. Closing remarks. Again, you have 1 full minute.
Yes, I think I've made abundantly clear over the course of this conversation that I am prepared to build bridges between communities while Alex Shear wants to break them down. I want to sit down with you and your friend who loves Everybody Loves Raymond and your cousin who likes to, I don't know, put on Friends in the background while they wipe down the countertops or something. And I just want to sit down. Hey, you shut the fuck up! I just want to sit down and enjoy a nice Canada Dry between fellow citizens of Lyngbrook. I believe in this, and I believe it all starts where? Grandma's mouth.
Fuck off.
Hey, Grandma, I will not back down on this. I will stand my ground.
I don't want you to back down. I want you to fuck off.
Grandma, you can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I will not back down on dental care for elderly citizens.
You know I fucking hate Tom Petty. I'll take my answer off the air.
And
Alex, your response.
Yeah, Alex, your response. Your closing remarks.
Okay, so firstly, Gam, I love your dentures. Never change.
Call me.
So, to end this this debate, I would like to thank once again the moderators, my opponent, and everyone in the stands for supporting both me and him as we talk about all the important issues that were discussed. Again, I want to elaborate that while I don't have any distinct hatred for other sitcoms, it is true that Everybody Loves Raymond is just factually the best one and the only one that we should ever talk about here. And I know a large percentage of the public agrees, and it's just time we start just displaying that fact out in the open instead of hiding it, on the 25th page of the Bible, Like, bring that stuff out here and loud and proud. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go call my dentist's wife.
And that concludes this 2023 Canada Dry sponsored Lynbrook mayoral debates here at Lynbrook University Canada Dry Hall. Thank you all so much for attending, for watching from home. Early reports seem to indicate that we have an uptick in popularity for both candidates.
Mike, we got to go over to the analysis booth.
Oh, sorry. Go to the analysis
Terry
booth.
Bradshaw's waiting for us. We got to go over there.
Yeah.
He's wearing his weird little hat from the Super Bowl.
Right. As Terry is pointing to right now, we can see an uptick in popularity, slight uptick in popularity for Alex Shear in his position. We see a slight decrease in popularity for Mr. Tyrone Dickie, though he's still in the lead. But I will say the largest increase of factor, an increase in popularity, is indeed for Mike Henderson's wife. Who
I'm okay with that.
we've been receiving a lot of calls about. So,
The Canada Dry most valuable player is Dorothy Henderson. Come on down.
Well, that's the end of our broadcast, and it looks like Drew's wheeling in the big wheel, and Price is Right is next. Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Canada Dry.
And if you stay tuned after The Price is Right, we will have another full episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. Don't touch that dial. Stay tuned as they discuss Season 2, Episode 17, The Ride Along. Stay tuned after these messages.
Okay. Let's do men's restroom. That's a suggestion. God, I'm pumped. This game is amazing. I cannot believe that the Turtles are doing so well.
That's awesome. Could you keep it down, sir? I'm trying to pee.
Yeah, I'm trying to pee too, man. It's a big trough, so, just mind your own business.
Do you have to get pumped up in order to urinate?
In more ways than one.
All right. Hey,
I
listen.
have a medical device.
Hey guys, why are you facing each other in like the trough? Like it's
We're
it's one
cheating
side.
in towards the trough at kind of an
Obtuse,
we're at an
yeah.
obtuse angle from each other, and we're just looking for a third to make Pythagoras happy. So why don't you come on in the middle here, Alex?
Well, sure. What are we talking about today?
Just how great a game this is. I mean, I'm loving all the action on the ice, the high sticking. You know what
I like sticking.
I'm not crazy about, though?
What aren't you crazy
I feel
about?
like the sponsors around the rim of the rink have gotten pretty terrible. I mean, Office Max, Office Depot, Staples. I mean, it's like, how many more office supply stores can sponsor this team? I need something new in my life.
I'm with you. I did actually discover something that was brand new in my life. You might be interested.
Oh?
Yeah.
Oh?
It's called the Baroness Zonus. I don't know if you guys have ever heard. You love that show, Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah, I usually listen to it in the bathroom, outside
Yeah,
of the
they get
bathroom.
off topic a little too often for me, but they're all right.
They waste
that's
a
fair.
lot of time in the middle. Like, you would think that they would just get to talking about the episode, but they usually do a really long scene in the middle.
Yeah, it's like, come on, we just want to hear the show. Why you gotta do this
Why do you
ad
make
for so
me
long?
skip ahead to 30:55 every week?
If you want to hear more from the Barone Boys, you can go and sign up for the Baroness Zonus. It's a one-time subscription. You can pay what you want, and you can pay as little as $1 and get lifetime access. You get an extra episode a month of Everybody Loves Raymond, as they talk about all kinds of tangentially related Raymond materials. It's actually quite cool. I mean, yeah, I also urinate to ELELR all the time. So, I mean, the Baroness, it helps me out quite a bit.
Did you mention where I can go to get that? Is it in bathrooms like condoms and mints?
No, you can get it anywhere you have an internet access. All you got to do is go to postfun.org.
Well, do bathroom attendants give you condoms?
If you ask them real nicely, they do. I found.
Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
I was saying, you just gotta go anywhere with the Wi-Fi access. You can just go to postfund.org/donate. That's postfund.org/donate. Again, a one-time donation will get you lifetime access to the Baroness Zonus.
All right. Hey, sounds good to me. Well, after peeing this whole time and talking to you about this, I think I'll go download a little bit of the Baroness Zonus.
Go Turtles!
I'm gonna pee.
All right, and Park. Okay, I think he said that he wanted to meet us outside of this cabin in the woods here, so I'll flash
I don't
the
care,
lights,
guys.
I guess.
I'm flying high. That was awesome.
I know,
You did
great.
really good, yeah.
You
Yeah.
did so good.
Yeah,
but-
you
thanks,
got
son.
him.
Yeah.
That last outburst that you got from Dickie cost him 100 votes. So you got an 100 vote advantage right there. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
Great job.
great, yeah.
I think you're
Thank
up to
you,
like
guys.
41.
Holy shit, that's almost like 20% of 20,000. Anyway,
Yes.
where's Schneider?
I don't
Oh, yeah,
know.
that's right.
Hey guys, hey, sorry.
Oh, my God.
I have a lot of vans waiting for me. I just had to. I've gone and knocked on a few. Hey guys, Alex. Hey, great job at the debate. I was listening.
Yeah.
Tyrone
Thank
really
you,
lost his
Schneider.
shit at the end there.
Yeah, no, what a weenie. I appreciate your support, man. If you lived in Limbrook, I would love it. I would love it if you voted for me, but alas.
Yeah, if you lived in Limbrook instead of this cabin that's also on the property of LaGuardia Airport where all these vans are waiting to take people to the Hilton, it would be great, if you could lend your support. But, we're just happy to have you come on the show. Do you want to get started? I'm using a different computer. This is a Lenovo. The Dell that we rescued from the Limbrook Library fire finally crapped out. So
Rest
I think,
in peace.
Mike, you used to be a licensed Lenovo reseller, right? How do you turn this thing on?
You hit the power button.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, all right.
Like, you
and
genius.
Yeah, listen,
Here.
I know my stuff.
we go. Hey, welcome back to Everybody Loves Raymond. It's the only Everybody Loves Raymond rewatch podcast, and that's all it is. We're so happy to be joined by Joseph Schneider. He's an improviser. He is a clown, professionally. He is,
But also, also just as a hobby.
yes, he is
I
a clown as a
I love how
hobby.
neither time I've appeared on this podcast have you guys asked me before we started rolling how I'd like to be introduced, and you just go off the dome. Mikey called
what
me a
we know
author
about
last
you.
time.
Did I call you a fucker last time? I was probably called for it, but I still
He
apologize.
called you
for
he said author, not
Author.
fucker.
Oh, okay.
And the author.
Author. I'm still shocked that you haven't written anything that's been published. You write a lot of crazy things. But regardless.
Nothing that's been published under my name.
Oh, well,
Regardless,
how would you like to be introduced, sir?
No, Adam is doing a fine job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Improviser,
regardless of-
clown, stand-up, social worker. Hit the bases.
Well, regardless of all your other credits and hobbies and passions, you are first and foremost a dear friend. Schneider, thank you for coming on to our show to talk about Season 2, Episode 17 of Everybody
Yes.
Loves Raymond. It's called The Ride Along. And,
It was something.
well, let's get into it. Let's start with, as we always do, our overall impressions of the episode. As our guest, Schneider, it seems like you're champing at the bit, so why don't you share your overall impression here?
There's just a lot going on with this episode. Both in terms of what it stands for, but also how they were able to perform that, I guess we could say, ideological platform on a primetime sitcom, because the episode was as much limited by its desire to perform propaganda as it was by the fact that it was a sitcom on what did it air on? What was Everybody Loves
CBS.
Raymond? CBS, yeah, it was just a CBS nightly sitcom. You could tell that in a lot of ways, demarcated the limits of what they were allowed to do, say, and show. and I'm looking forward to getting into that more. Not to just like go hard in on my feelings at the top of the show.
But no, that's what you should do. Kind of give everyone kind of that idea off the bat.
But
Yeah, so they
Schneider,
can stop listening now.
Yeah, exactly. But Schneider, was it funny? That's the question.
I don't know. I can't.
You know,
I
thanks
got
for
some
being on
good
the
laughs.
show, Schneider.
And
Now
there
there's
goes the rest of the
cabin.
audience.
Yeah.
I got some good laughs out of Ray being a prick.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're like
We
at
often do.
the early ride along stage. That was probably the most delightful part of the episode for me.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, I actually, as much as I'm being kind of facetious, I don't disagree with anything that Schneider said. It was interesting because we actually have seen, and actually later we do see, Everybody Loves Raymond actually tackle like some real stuff kind of well. Like we talked about how it tackles class a couple different times. Now, that being said, I don't necessarily think this was disingenuous because I do think this comes from a place where we know that Ray Romano's real brother was an NYPD officer. So I'm pretty sure that Robert represents that. I would be shocked to think that Ray wasn't consulted here. I do think this it was meant to be a tribute to his brother. That being said, there were a few things in there that I was just like, oh, so it's just it felt very like I got superhero vibes at a few different moments, and it just kind of felt very, very, smiley. Not necessarily saying that Everybody Loves Raymond would be a great place to do a deep dive into the intricacies of policing. I don't think that, but at the same time, I do agree with what Schneider summed up pretty well. It was interesting in that it was trying to hit a message that they couldn't really explore. Just kind of echoing what he said. Yeah.
Alex.
Well, yeah, hardcore agree with both of you. For me, I'm trying to tackle this episode more through the lens of Ray and Robert's interaction and them using kind of the whole cop stuff as kind of like set dressing for a reason for Ray to kind of see his brother. I do agree with Mike that I do think that this was at least in part kind of a tribute to Ray's brother, since we have discussed his brother's occupation. And I definitely do agree with Schneider where it kind of glorifies the profession a little bit, especially now in today's age where it's kind of like a little bit more well known, kind of the imperfections, to say the least, of modern policing. So it was interesting. And as far as looking at it as just like a regular sitcom without really thinking too much about it, it was fine. Not my favorite episode.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
But I've also seen worse from this show.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't really think this was the place to do a Rodney King meditation exactly, but at the same time, yeah, I agree. Okay writing, decently enough. Yeah, middle of the road.
I should unplug myself from a critique and say, just like, how much fun did you have with this?
Yeah.
Pretty middling episode.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, it felt like the kind of like the hero cop thing came first before the comedy. That's the last thing I'll say.
Yeah. And Adam, what were your opinions on it?
Yeah, I agree with everyone. Of course, that's what we're doing here is building an echo chamber.
This also isn't the place for ELELR also isn't the place for a Rodney King debate, I don't think. But at the same time,
Yeah, I don't know if this was directly influenced by Rodney King. I think that this is more an episode about Ray and Robert's relationship, Ray seeing Robert and gaining some respect for Robert. It's just unfortunate that what Robert does is, all the bad stuff. The most problematic kind of thing, or the thing that we, with, the critical lens that we look at this stuff now, was watching the two of them watch Cops.
Yes.
And Robert's sort of like satisfaction or like smugness about this guy running away from the cops and his life is about to be ruined, and they're I think I like Ray saying, he's the underdog. That is the one thing that like is concerning for me. But the heroics, I feel like, are definitely like looking at it through like a media lens. This is the image that this is putting out into the world. Yes, it's glorifying cops. I also feel like if Robert was a firefighter, this plot would have worked as well.
Like it wouldn't have changed at all, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a show called Firefighters where they put out fires? I don't know if that would be a very entertaining show, to be honest with you.
That'd be a very entertaining show.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
about
body
that.
cam footage of somebody inside a structure fire.
No, you know what? You're right. That would be pretty cool. I was just thinking that, like, part of the, is Cops still on the air? Was it canceled?
Oh, Cops was canceled in 2020, and
well.
it is being rebooted on the Fox News streaming service, Fox Nation.
Of fucking course it is. Oh,
Carlos
God.
Massa has has talked about like Cops as a media phenomenon before, and I'm going to butcher the very like well-written and insightful commentary that he had, but basically the framework that he laid out, like the pattern that an episode of Cops followed, you could see plainly in this cold open. And I think Adam brings this up segues well into, just because it's the cold open of the episode, the idea that it's just like a perceived crime from the perspective of the cop, apprehension. Perceived crime, apprehension. Good guy, bad guy. The framing is police got the dude. It's completely divorced from any like legal realities, any other arm of the criminal legal system. It's just this like cat and mouse, hero villain, cop perp narrative. That's
It's like a war on crime fantasy. It's like, oh, these people are on crack because they're inherently bad, and it's good that we're busting down their door with a tank to arrest them for having crack. It lacks all nuance and
completely divorced from any material.
Yeah.
I would like to deflate what you guys have been saying by just saying I really wish that the sequel series to Cops was called And Robbers.
Well, Robert does say, then let him get his own job.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
That would be great. Give me a show that's just about like everyday drug users who are just like, man, like, come on, like, get out of here, man.
I feel like there are a lot of stoner comedies that would fit that thing. Not a TV show, but like different kind of.
No, I mean people that got like fucked over by a fentanyl prescription, and they now have to resort to street drugs because they got like hooked on opiates after they got in a car crash.
Schneider.
And now they just gotta like use in an alleyway because we needlessly criminalize drug use.
But Schneider, I don't want to feel sad.
Mike makes a good point.
The one thing that I will also say is like, it's in Cops as I'm not going to say it anywhere near as interestingly as Schneider said, but like if you look at the generations of television, like people have talked about, oh, with the future of streaming, with the individuality that comes with like YouTube and TikTok and things like that, will there still be TV shows and things around? The one thing, like the two things that will keep TV as a phenomenon going are detective shows and doctor shows like Grey's Anatomy and Law and Order, like because those are the most consistent, the most long running things. Yeah. So I think there is
those two and Always Sunny.
and
we'll just run forever.
And
throw
the Simpsons for
in
that
there.
matter. Yeah. We'll just throw all of these in there. But yeah, like there is a deep desire to like see that kind of simplicity, because I think that as we're kind of discussing, there is so much more complications with every fucking situation that exists.
Everything would be so much easier if the world was as simple as conservatives think it is.
Or the people of Cops think it is too. But yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Or Robert seems to think it is.
Yeah.
I don't know
and none of those are mutually exclusive. Those are all overlapping circles.
Oh yeah, we think Robert was at January 6th.
Yeah.
Like the actor or like Robert?
No, the character.
No, the
Brad
character.
Garrett.
We love Brad
Garrett
Garrett.
is a pretty liberal guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Brad Garrett.
But yeah, I will. I will say that I just want to put it out there. I'm not sure Robert leads a simple life, as we've come to realize. He's got some complications to him. But
I will say though, it like churned my stomach, just me as an individual, as a person, when Robert just like very succinctly described how precisely they were going to put this guy into a kettle.
What you mean with when he was describing it like the mouse thing?
Yeah, that's called a police kettle. It's when you deliberately funnel people into like a narrow space with limited means of egress, and then you close off those means of egress. See it all the time when cops will try to like funnel a march or protesters onto something like a bridge or a long one-way street, and then they'll close off the means of egress and just start dropping pepper balls.
Wow, interesting. I'd never heard that term before, but yeah.
Yeah, it's called a kettle.
Okay.
So our cold open, it's still snowing, guys.
Hooray!
Yeah, winter is still here, still present.
We had snow.
This is all
To date
very
the
good,
episode.
actually, to talk about. But yeah, we do see the exterior of the Barone. I'm just going to hard transition. We see the exterior of the Barone house. It's still snowing, as we talked about last week at length. It's winter. Ray and Robert are watching Cops. I'm a fool, but it must have been. I didn't look it up, but I know that Cops was on Spike TV, which turned into Paramount, which means that it was part of Viacom CBS, which means that it was the same property as the network that aired Raymond. That's why they're talking about Cops. Deborah comes downstairs to tell them to turn it down because the kids are sleeping. They're watching a guy run away, as we've talked about, and Ray is rooting for the perp, as Robert calls him. He's the underdog. Robert says he's a criminal. Again, there's that simplicity and black and whiteness of those viewpoints. Robert is really getting satisfied, kind of... I don't know how to describe it. It's not quite smugness, but it's like,
It's pretty close to smugness.
I love it when a
it's pretty
plan
smug.
comes together, kind of. The guy runs into the alley, and he says, "My boys are about to bust him," which is what, Mike, I think you say when you...
when I do the dominatrix. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You could have put anything on the end of that joke, and it would have been funny.
Yeah.
And then he explains to Ray the process of setting up a perimeter and says it's like catching a mouse. Ray makes fun of him because he's seen Robert interface with a mouse before, and he is very scared of mice. And Robert then threatens to beat the crap out of him. This is not a flattering scene for Robert, I will say.
No.
Jumping from... what do you call it? Is it fascism? I don't know. To violence.
So you know how some people will say like persecution fetish, like you love being the victim or whatever, like bullshit.
Yeah.
Like with you. This is a prosecution fetish.
I think so. And Mike, you offer that service as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Most fetishes I will offer.
Fun fact, that's how we got the idea for Judge Deborah.
And we won't say who.
I will say that though that it's very interesting. We see Robert go through a few different modes in this episode a little bit, but like over the course of this season, because he does get very sheepish. But it's almost like when anyone ever brings up policemen, he really flips the switch and is like, "Oh yeah, I'm the big dog," and it's a weird look for sure.
I don't though want to just skip over what was actually a very delightful joke.
Which one?
Like early in that cold open, after Deborah comes down and tells him to turn it down, and Ray says you can't have violence without volume, and Deborah like swats him over the head with like a rolled up newspaper or a phone book or something, just like some stuff she's carrying, and he goes like "ow!" like screams loudly, and she goes, "Oh yeah, you're right." It was a good little
good bit.
Here,
Yeah, there's
this.
plenty.
Yeah.
I feel like there's plenty of those in this episode.
Cute beats that otherwise have nothing to do with the overall narrative. The episode is.
Oh yeah, we'll get to it, but what we call the hot close, which is the opposite of the cold open, is completely divorced from the plot of the episode.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It is great.
Funny bit.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was here for it.
Perfectly harmless and good. So the guy on TV gets arrested. Ray gets up. He says the show is fixed. I mean, it's called Cops. And that's when Robert says they should get their own show.
3 months of filming for 30 minutes of footage.
Yeah, something like that. Ray says that Robert, and sort of makes fun of Robert because he doesn't think Robert runs after people like that. Robert, I liked this line. Robert challenges him to put his ass where his mouth is. And Ray...
Of silence.
Why would I want to... it's just so funny. That's just one of those weird little jokes that they sprinkle in. And he challenges Ray to come on a ride-along that night. Ray is obviously scared at first, but then Robert says, why, you scared? Why not come on a ride-along? And Ray, not wanting to seem scared, accepts. That classic fragile masculinity that we've seen Ray embody so many times.
Yeah. Well, he does try to get out of it.
He does immediately try to get out of it. Deborah comes back up from the basement, and before that, Robert mentions, "Oh, don't worry, we'll get you a vest, a bulletproof vest." And then Ray is like, "I gotta check with my partner." As Deborah comes up the stairs, and says, obviously hoping that she'll say no. Robert wants me to sit in the squad car where all the action is and wear a bulletproof vest. I like Deborah's beat, and then, okay, have fun. And then walks away, goes upstairs. That's the end of that. We go to the anti-gravity opening. Schneider, you had a very strong reaction to the anti-gravity opening in our group.
Because there are,
doesn't it?
It's so weird. There are two Everybody Loves Raymond openings that I remember. I remember the conveyor belt, and I remember the putting together the house. And then I remember the original piano theme, and then I remember them using Ode to Joy.
Yes.
I had zero recollection. I probably did see it as a child and blocked it out of my mind of ever, those synapses of ever connecting, because I didn't want to remember it. What the Sam Hill was that? It was so poorly done and weird. The conveyor belt is funny because it's at least reasonable enough. This was too much heightened, zero explore.
We've talked about it for 17 weeks at this point, but the technology was not there to do what they wanted to do in a way that isn't terrifying.
But my question is, why would you ever want to do that? This isn't a superhero show. This isn't anything like that. These are people living in a house. If there's no instance in which Deborah Barone should be suspended from air, that just doesn't make sense. It caught me off guard
because I thought they were going to come by on the conveyor belt, and then she flies down. I'm like, is she floating? And then he blows her away.
Yeah,
what just happened?
That's the weird part, is when he waves them away and blows them away. At least the conveyor belt is meta, right? It's presentational in a way, but still grounded in physical reality. We buy it as the audience that this is part of the presentation, whereas this seems like they were trying to do something that is obviously fake and looks terrible and doesn't match the rest of the show at all.
Yeah, it just broke their own ceiling.
Yeah. So it's objectively terrible, and everyone has agreed over the past 17 weeks, but we'll see what how that public opinion shapes out by the end of the season.
I like it.
Get out of here. I don't understand why. I really cannot understand why.
I've explained it many times, but that's not for right now.
All right.
We cut to the Barone's house. It's nighttime. Frank is eating lasagna directly out of the dish, and Marie comes in, basically tells him he's disgusting for not using a plate, and I thought it was a very specific, what's the word, picadillo, that she doesn't want his fork touching everything.
Yeah.
And then at that point, Ray comes in. Marie says, you hungry? Of course, she always asks him if he's hungry when he comes in.
Can't offer him lasagna or ice cream,
Can't offer him lasagna or ice cream because Frank's fork has touched it, and then Frank takes the cake out of the refrigerator and touches it with his fork.
And I like how it's not just a bite. Almost like a petulant child. He's stabs it a bunch of times.
He also pokes Marie in the ass with it, and she's shocked, but then he says, hey, it's a compliment.
Yeah, that was kind of cute, kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about it.
It was a weird, like, sometimes they are cute together.
Yeah.
But this transition was too abrupt, I feel like.
Yeah.
From him being petulant and stabbing the cake to them being like, oh, I'm going to playfully poke you with my fork.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you think
Who
it's
knows?
also unhinged that Frank eats ice cream?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That didn't even click with me.
That's a dangerous game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ray, changing the subject. Ray has a pretty funny line of,
I wish this was the wrong house.
I wish this was the wrong house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ray asks where Robert is. Marie says, oh, he's getting ready for work. I guess he's doing the night shift, of course. And Ray tells Marie that Robert is taking him on a ride along. And then at that point, Robert comes in, and Marie is, of course, shocked.
Freaks out.
No one discussed this with me. You're not going. And Ray says that there wasn't a permission slip, or she says there wasn't a permission slip. I don't remember.
Something like that.
Somebody said, there
think
was no
Ray says
permission
it.
slip.
No, because I think it's Robert says, like, oh, your mommy's not going to let you go. And Ray's just like, well, I didn't need to get a permission slip. And then Robert's like,
And
well,
then Robert
actually,
hands
there's a
him
release.
the release form. The department can't guarantee your safety. Which
Your
of
protection.
Course, oh yeah, your protection.
And then it was, I thought you were my protection. That was a good line.
That was good. That was a good one.
Marie is like, explodes at this. Robert's putting Raymond in danger. Frank, do something. Frank takes this opportunity to have a war flashback to Korea. Pretty sure Frank has PTSD that he's not addressing. You want to know
it checks
danger? Compares his time in Korea to sitting in a squad car with a thermos of hot cocoa. Robert replies very robotically, actually, no, that increases the frequency of urination. Funny little line, I guess, or more the delivery is funny, I feel like. Ray and
Wouldn't
Robert...
it be great
and,
if that's all constant?
Ray and Robert leave as Marie begs them not to go. She calls out after them, why don't you just take Deborah and the kids too? That way I'll lose my whole family in one night, which is such a guilt line, so masterful, Marie guilt. And then she points at Frank and says, well, at least take him.
Good one.
Classic Marie Frank tete-a-tete.
Very nice.
So we cut to our next scene, which is Ray and Robert in the squad car driving along. What road do you think they're driving along, Mike?
I cannot tell, because here's the thing. This is what upsets me. This is the minutia that doesn't really add up. So, we know for a fact that Robert Barone is in the NYPD because it's in every single fucking t-shirt that he wears. It says NYPD across the chest. However, he's driving around. That could be Queens. That's not the problem. But he ends up at Nemo's, which we know is in Lynbrook. Lynbrook is not a part of the NYPD. The NYPD is specifically the 5 boroughs. That would be at least a half-hour drive, and he's still on the clock. You can't take a half-hour break to get to Nemo's. Also, it's New York City. There are much better pizza places everywhere. I know the reality is that they just didn't want to spend money on another set. However, I'm not sure if he's part of the NYPD or the LPD based on where he is in proximity to everything else. So that could be anywhere from Northern Boulevard to Sunrise Highway. Fuck if I know. I'm upset.
Thank you.
I
That's
did
a
also,
good
like,
point, Mike.
I didn't think too hard about it, but I was kind of like, did they drive all the way into the city for this? Like, and when you lay it all out like that, it's like, yeah, no, this is kind of reality breaking. None of this makes sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Especially because Lynbrook is an incorporated village. It has its own police department. It doesn't. It's not even Nassau County PD. It's the Lynbrook PD. Fucking all right. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't matter. I know I'm the only person, including the
No,
police.
it does though. It does.
Yeah.
Well, this is just another instance of Ray is actually from Queens. Ray grew up in Queens, went to high school in Queens, went to St. John's University, at least in Universe. I don't know if he actually did. We didn't look that up. But, from Hillcrest, he they transposed the show to Long Island, I think, to get the suburban setting, something like that.
That's a weird choice.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
understand why
something
they
like
just didn't
that.
do Queens. I really don't.
Maybe the King of Queens hadn't come out yet, though.
Yeah.
So that
He
wouldn't
went
be
to-
working the same side of the street.
Ray went to
Literally.
Queens College, which also is in Queens, but not St. John's itself.
Right. He was wearing a St. John's shirt in the season 1 finale.
He wears it a couple times.
Yeah, this is just another example of that, of taking details from Ray's actual life and putting them in the show, even though geographically they don't make sense. Like the high school reunion that Ray goes to, supposedly in Limbrook, is for Hillcrest High,
Yeah.
which is
Not
in
like-
Queens.
Instead of the high school that's in Lynbrook, which is Lynbrook High School. Like, I
And the
just...
school that your boy went to.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a weird detail.
That
It
was-
sounded like you were going to reveal a different school, so
Yeah.
we were all
I mean,
waiting.
Yeah, we were...
no, that was the school your boy went to.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is weird, but thank you for your unique insight on that, Mike. I wouldn't know who else to turn to. Truly. So we're in the squad car with Ray, Robert, and Judy. Judy is Robert's partner. She's played by Sherry Shepherd, who, of course, is a big deal these days, but this was very early in her career, actually. This is her first appearance as Robert's partner, Judy. And she'll do 8 episodes as Judy altogether. This was one of her first acting roles. She started as a stand-up in 1990, but then started acting in 97 or so. Did a couple of one-season shows, and then a number of guest spots. So same year she did Friends, and she also did an episode of Living Single, which I am a big fan of.
Yeah, we know.
Great show.
That's great.
She has a daytime talk show now as well. So that is Sherry Shepherd, and I think she totally kills this scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she does great.
She takes over.
So they're in the squad car, and a call comes over the radio. They call Robert Sarge. Ray is surprised that they call him that and show him that deference. I thought his line, "Do they know you lick your Q-tips before you stick them in your ears?" Which made me actively gag, but is very funny. Yeah, so the call's about an open warehouse door, and Ray is making fun of the low stakes involved here. He makes fun of Robert for calling in a bow wow, which is a K9 unit. I
Go save a meow meow.
Yeah, I love Judy. Basically telling him he's not funny, sit back, shut the fuck up, and her line of, "I'm starting to see what you mean about your little brother." I love when we get that parallel of Robert's life and how Robert must perceive everything that Ray is doing, and his behavior towards him is always good to see. So they get an emergency call, but that doesn't resolve itself at all. I don't think that comes up.
I think the
No, it's
emergency
Marie.
call was Marie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All
The
right.
call
Yeah.
is Marie.
Which
I
was
didn't connect
hilarious.
those. Yeah,
Yeah.
Marie comes over the radio asking for Raymond. Is Raymond okay? Which is just a great button on the scene, I thought. What did you
really
guys think of this scene?
It's I liked it. I thought it was one of the more memorable scenes of the episode. I think the most interesting part of this episode for me is kind of the Marie dynamic, actually, where the whole thing is she's really worried about Ray, and it's just this idea of it kind of feeds into those ideas that we all have about oh, Marie really cares about Ray, not so much about Robert. And then the whole episode kind of gets supported by that, with Marie kind of actively worrying about Raymond, even though Robert does this every day. And then at the end, we get a little bit more behind
Yeah, they set
the
that
scenes
up
as
to
to what
knock
she's
it down.
actually
That
thinking.
insight.
So I thought that was actually very well done.
Yeah.
I love every time Judy appears. I didn't realize that she was in this one, but there are a couple other moments throughout the run that I do remember Judy appearing, and she kills every time that she's on screen. It's delightful. But yeah, Ray meets Judy in this. I don't know if they've ever met before, but he meets both of them in the car. And he keeps leaning forward. That seemed really unnatural to me. I don't know about you guys, but Ray does
The
the
fact that
thing.
the cruiser didn't have a cage.
I didn't even think of that. My thought is I've never been sitting in the backseat of a car and had the desire to put my elbow on the driver's seat. That's what my thought was. That felt.
No, I was just sitting there, just like looking at it. Just like this police cruiser doesn't have a cage, and they make an arrest later in the episode. That's got the gun. But it's like, what? And they also tell Ray that he could sit up front now. There's only 2 seats up front. Is he sitting in Judy's? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah,
but like, I know why they did that, just for like the blocking of the scene,
filming purposes.
Yeah, but it was again one of those sort of reality breaking things that doesn't make sense.
Well, wait, let me ask you this: in a real Citizens ride along, do they put the citizens in the cage? Because like that's still a real thing. That wasn't made up for this thing.
Yeah, no, that's a real thing. I don't know, other shows that I've seen do ride along episodes, like Res Dogs has a ride along episode, a much better ride along episode for that matter, and he's just sitting shotgun.
So so in that scenario, there is no partner.
There's no partner. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, so that was a weird one. Both the lack of the cage and also, Mikey, like you're pointing out, like just leaning for. He clearly wasn't wearing his seatbelt because he could just like bop his elbows on the front 2 seats.
Totally.
But yeah, I was having a blast with Ray just being a prick. Because like he's entirely correct with everything that the show like wants to try to show us. Like that great paper that came out a couple of years ago, like how much policing do police do? And it's just like the vast majority of a cop's time isn't even spent on the beat. It's just like custodial work, like paperwork and shit. Like Ray is 100% accurate in those like gripes that he has about like, you know, the open warehouse door. Like, I'm glad I'm wearing the vest because, you know, it got drafty. Like, spot on, entirely correct. If the episode would have ended there, mwah.
That also would have added another element of Robert can't catch a fucking break. Just like
That's right.
That actually would have been I know this, like we said, this is definitely a tribute to Ray's brother, and there's something that's very sweet about that. But at the same time, my God, how funny would that have been? That would have been.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I know, like you guys are touching on the sweetness of the tribute, but I cannot like divorce like the brotherly love dimension from like the active harm to the discourse that this is doing as a piece of propaganda.
I mean,
like those two are just like they're the same thing in my brain.
It's like if you know, you're what is a not terrible example? If you're
Woody
Bob Weinstein and you make a moving tribute to your brother, it's like, oh, that's sweet, but that's still Harvey Weinstein, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not to compare Robert.
I was
to
gonna say,
Harvey
Robert,
Weinstein.
we have issues with Robert, but I don't know if Harvey Weinstein is the comparison that he deserves.
It's the comparison police deserve, like as an institution.
Love having you on, Schneider. You really we get great emails.
You guys invited me.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
That is kind of our fault. You're right about that. Yeah.
We cut to then Nemo's. Yeah, we break the reality. We go to Nemo's. Nemo, we get a weird little scene where two characters who rarely have more than one line have a little scenelet just between the two of them. So it's Joseph Perry and Tina Arning as Nemo and Angelina, who are also in the previous episode.
Big week for them.
Yeah, big week. 2 paychecks.
2 paychecks, baby.
Nemo, Angelina says that a table wants a doggy bag. Nemo complains about people taking their leftovers home, basically, and says, "What am I supposed to eat?"
Yeah.
Just a little vignette of what it's like at Nemo's when Ray and Robert aren't there. Judy, Robert, and Ray come in. She goes to the bathroom. Ray's like, "Why do we need to take a break?" And she's like, "Well, I need to take a break from your mouth," which I don't blame her. He's being very annoying this episode.
He is a dick.
Robert sits Ray down. He says, "I want to talk to you." And Ray, playing on like the interrogation thing. "I have a right to a ginger ale,
Canada
They
Dry.
cannot pass up an opportunity
Yeah.
to just plant the seed of Canada Dry in the mind of the viewer. Robert basically tells him to stop making fun of them. He says very dramatically, a slow night for you is a good night for me.
There were a
Very-
couple of lines in this episode, and this interaction is one of them, that just gave me a very special episode of Everybody
Yeah.
Loves Raymond. This
Yeah.
gives me one of them, like the Marie scene a little bit later on, where she's like, "I don't want to talk about it." That is another one of them.
You can imagine these being cut into a next time on that's really sentimental and melodramatic.
I was just gonna say, if this were Full House, we'd have a piano underneath. We'd have the
we'd have that
Danny
little
Tanner.
keyboard.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that clip? It's in the documentary about the Dana Carvey show of the very special episode of Home Improvement where
Yes.
JTT thinks he has cancer.
Yes.
And then,
What are you
and then
talking
an
about?
all-new Diet Mug Root Beer Dana Carvey show.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's the best transition in television history.
I was not a
incredible.
big. I only saw a few episodes of Home Improvement. I do not know what you're referencing. That sounds. Really
There's
funny,
a
though.
it's later in the show's run. Surprising no one, I've seen all of Home Improvement. It's later in the show's run. I may have seen all of the show, but I don't remember any of the characters' names. I know Tim. So Jonathan Taylor Thomas's character thinks that he gets like a diagnosis from his pediatrician, or they do a test at the pediatrician that might indicate that he has cancer. So the clip is Tim Allen basically in tears saying, "We'll get through this together, you and me, no matter what happens," and then hugging him. And then it
and
goes,
crying profusely and
Yeah.
dropping C-bombs, just like, "Oh, what is cancer?"
"I'm scared, Dad."
Yeah.
And then just smash cut to an all-new Diet Mug Root Beer Dana Carvey show. It's the most and the documentary is great because they cut to each person just losing their shit at this transition. Like Stephen Colbert bent. I know you love Stephen Colbert, Mike.
Yeah, I love
Bent over, just laughing his ass off. So funny.
Yeah.
Not Home Improvement. That specific 2-second promo.
I was gonna say you don't exactly. I would be shocked if Stephen Colbert did a guest spot on Home Improvement, but I guess
No, it was for the Dana Carvey show documentary.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I may I may have passively sat in front of TBS while Home Improvement was on, but the fact that you think I would watch a documentary about Home Improvement, fuck you.
We are though missing what I think is the most important part of the interaction between Ray and
Thank you.
and Robert in this moment,
Mm-hmm.
which is that Robert bites one of the pretzel sticks and then puts it back in the basket.
Yeah.
How unhinged of him!
Thank you. Thank you.
What?
Schneider, you don't know how much these people make fun of me for pointing out the weird food interactions that happen on this show. Thank you for being with me on that one.
He bites into it and then just cavalierly tosses it back into the basket.
A sin.
And Ray no sells it. It's like, is anybody gonna say something?
Yeah, and especially
I didn't even
because
notice.
It's also so interesting because we know that Robert is so specific with the way that he eats this food, but like double dipping, if you could even call this that, is like just not something that registers. That
Yeah,
Bullshit.
no, it was so weird.
traumatizing. Worst part of the episode. Worst. This is what makes this the sin against all. This
yeah.
is what brought this episode down. Forget about.
Yeah, the bad things about the episode in order of least to most egregious are like narrative before comedy, propaganda, and then just like
miles
bit
and
the pretzel
miles.
stick and put it back in the basket.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so glad that you got to have a guest on your little segment, Mike, where you talk about
Yeah.
the food continuity.
Good for
he
you,
got
Mike.
so worked up because there was an episode a couple weeks ago.
Are you talking about the peas?
I am talking about the peas,
The fuck
where
is peas?
Robert burns his hand, so Deborah takes the frozen peas out of the freezer and gives it to them.
With the
And then-
line,
And they go and
importantly,
get in the hot tub, right?
no, importantly, she hands it to him and says, "Hey, I need you to defrost these." Then Ray comes in later, and he's all sweaty. So he takes the peas, and he's dotting himself, still okay. And then he puts the fucking peas back in the freezer, and nobody touches them. And it's just like, number one, gross. Number two, weren't you supposed to be defrosting them? What are you going to eat now? The corn is still frozen, too. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Okay,
I think you
now,
lost
you know what?
Schneider.
I lost Schneider in the middle of that rant. I'm still bothered about the peas. He's done.
No, you got me. You got me. It's just it's
I'm
one of
not
things.
gonna-
Like I feel like I'm just like leaning against the alley, like taking a drag of a cigarette, just like, yeah, man, the fucking food.
They don't.
Fucking
They don't
food
do
in that
all-
show, man.
They don't do the
all
continuity
bullshit.
right. Yeah.
Robert says, I'm one big joke to you, my height, my little quirks, the year I had an afro, which we've seen. We saw a
That's
flashback
right.
to that. Season 1, episode 17? The car? No.
I trust you more than
Something like that.
Oh yeah,
It was the
it's
car.
the car. It might not be the right number, but it is the car episode.
It's definitely the car. Susan Varon is back as Susie. She comes up to the table and
I love this character.
says, you guys gonna order or can I have a smoke? Was she not smoking inside the restaurant in front of the table full of children last time that she was on the show?
She
Or
was.
Did I imagine that?
She was.
Okay.
I guess Nemo had a talk with
Yeah,
her.
it sounds
Yeah,
like
the '90s, man.
she got a note.
They failed
and
the
then-
health inspection one too many times.
Yeah, she walks off because they take too long, and Ray is now talking to Robert about, he feels bad about making fun of them. He'll pay for Robert's food. He'll pay for Judy's food. But over Robert's shoulder,
What does she
he
eat?
sees,
Children.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
I meant to write that down. Yeah, what does she eat? Children. But over Robert's shoulder, Ray sees a guy come into Nemo's with obviously holding a gun in his hoodie, or pretending to.
I do
sticking
want
up
to.
Nemo.
I
Yeah.
did want to say when I saw that shot, I did write in my notes. Is that a gun in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Nice.
Nice. This
gets-
is.
Go ahead, Adam.
I'm gonna tell you absolutely nothing.
I was going to say, this gets at what I was touching upon in our opening reactions, the idea that not only is this episode shaped by the sort of like ideological desires of the writers and the producers, but also the limits of what they could get away with showing and doing and discussing on just like a primetime sitcom on CBS. You never see an actual firearm over the
No.
course of the episode. Like it's clearly just his finger, like in a gun shape in his hoodie, and then Robert does not unholster his weapon. It goes full on, like Mikey, you said, superhero vibes. Like kind of gives me a Scooby-Doo feel. Just like I'm gonna slap over this cup and then chuck a pizza at you.
Now that is interesting, Schneider, because we actually have seen Robert deploy or unsheath his firearm before,
He pointed
just
it-
against his own family.
He pointed it directly at Ray when he was trying to bang Deborah. They walked in, were shocked that they were having sex, and he pulled it on him. So yeah,
Also, I got delighted by the fact that you said unsheath as if this is Romeo plus Juliet, the modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet, where the guns say sword.
I forgot the word. to unholster.
yeah,
I
like
think
unsheath
maybe
more.
like S&P might have come down on them about that.
maybe.
Because there's a very clear self-consciousness about the fact that they don't want to show a firearm, which, again, we've already distorted a like real-world accurate representation of the police by the like ideological contours of the episode, but now we're also distorting that representation based on like the limits provided by S&P. Because an actual scenario, like even a show that wants to make you think cops are good, they'd immediately unholster their firearm.
Yeah.
Now, in like real life, you'd be pulling it out and like throwing it around, like get on the fucking grounds. Like this situation would immediately become extremely aggro. But in every way, both like what the show wanted to do and what S&P would let it do, it kind of fails in this regard and just turns a little goofy. which makes sense that in the next scene when Deborah asks Ray what happened, he says like, I can't really remember. Because if he would actually like say
He threw a
pizza at him, it would sound silly.
It sounds stupid. Yeah,
it would
you're
undercut
right.
what the show was trying to do.
Yeah.
So like in every way, like this scene fails.
I'm kind of with you. I was a little bit confused by that too. My thought wasn't like, well, yeah, of course, he would take out the gun, but it wasn't even like, all right, you want to surprise him and then throw a pizza at him. Why would you just not, like, I guess the idea to get him to turn around is if the gun discharges, it hits him instead of Nemo, but there are children behind you. So I was also
thinking way too hard about it.
maybe, but I guess my thought was like, even if you, my thought in the moment was like, why didn't Robert just tackle him? Forget about the pizza.
Just grab him.
Yeah, like why do you need to deal with the pizza choreography?
I think you get him to turn around because they wanted pie face. Like quite literally, they just wanted a pie to the face.
Maybe. Okay, I guess that's even stupider, actually.
Yeah, no, it's a very stupid scene.
Yeah.
I would love to do a remake of Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet, where when they say unsheath, they're talking about an entire large pizza on a platter.
I would love a Romeo and Juliet where they just have like shaving cream
plus.
pies. I'm sorry, Romeo plus Juliet when they just have shaving cream pies, and if you get pied in the face, you're dead. I think that would really add something to it.
That's a sketch. Let's film that sketch later.
Judy then comes out of the bathroom, goes and checks for a getaway car, doesn't even step out of the building, just like whoop, through the blinds.
Yeah.
Like, yep, nope, that's good enough.
No getaway car, got no friends. That's a good line.
And then
that's like
Robert
a real
drops a line like, we'll give you a ride.
Yeah, those are real CSI Miami lines.
Yeah, that was like legit like cop show jargon right there.
Guess that pizza hit his... No, never mind. Cut that. I was trying to do a Namore thing of like the moon hit his eye like the big pizza, but I couldn't figure out.
Don't cut any of that. Do not cut. Mikey's thinking
that was
out loud through his lackluster joke.
That was not a good joke. It wasn't even a joke if it landed. Come on, man.
Mike, we'll get it clean. Just say, I would have loved if after he hit him in the face with the pizza, he turned towards the camera, put his sunglasses on, and said, now that's amore.
That's too many lines. You can just have that one. I'll let you take it.
Wow, Adam, good one.
Yeah, good
Thanks,
joke,
guys.
Adam.
And then it tells Ray that he could ride up front. I've already complained about how this like kind of breaks the reality because also there's no cage in the cruiser. Like, is he just gonna be in the back?
Trunk.
Sure. Within the reality of the show.
I mean, why not, right?
Before we leave Nemo's, though, like I do want to circle back to Nemo does have the line, like pick up that pizza unless they want a new one.
Yeah.
But circling back to kind of his like button at the beginning of the scene where he says like people keep asking for doggy bags. What am I supposed to eat? Which is indicative of a writing staff that has never once in a day worked in the food service industry, especially in restaurants, because at the end of the day, there is so much food left over. Like, I worked in a New York City pizzeria. At the end of the day, I was taking home like 4 or 5 pies, a couple of calzones, a dish of pasta. Like, I was eating so many carbs.
The way that your New York accent ramped up as you finished that sentence was very charming.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that Nemo would be starved for leftovers.
I also will say that like it's also we learn a lot about Nemo's over the past 2 episodes because first of all, this time we see him eating the food, we see him trying to serve him pizza off the ground. Last episode we got the line of Ray coming in being like, health inspector, and Nemo like, don't do that to me. Later on in the series, Nemo gets replaced. Spoiler alert. I get it. I'm just gonna say it
because it kind of make the place a little too grody.
Yeah. He should be
for a
replaced.
place that they keep bringing their children back to. Maybe they should class the joint up a little bit.
No, it's good pizza.
Floor pizza. I want to tell you real quick. Steven Bruno is the guy with the gun. He may be the same Stephen Bruno who is now an entertainment executive at Netflix and now MGM. But I could not confirm this because, shockingly, none of that Stephen Bruno's bios mention appearing on this episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. 6 credits spanning from 1997 to 1999. Last one was an episode of Pacific Blue. That is Stephen Bruno. So we cut to Ray's house. I did want to mention, like, you can see in Nemo's, after the incident happens, Ray is sitting in the booth in visible shock, and then that is sort of continued into the following scene. We cut to Ray's house. He walks into the bedroom. The lights are off. Deborah's sleeping. And he lays on the bed, fully clothed and completely despondent. I feel like he's clearly been traumatized by this incident, and I don't think we're going to see... What?
I said waste of a good pizza. That's it.
No, it wasn't a waste. He was giving it back to him.
That's right. Never mind.
But I don't think we're going to see any ramifications of this traumatic incident that we realized in future episodes. But yeah, he lays on the bed. Deborah wakes up. She says, "How was the ride along?" He gives her a couple of despondent grunts first, but she presses him. "How was the ride along?" He says it was very boring, followed by a short period of terrifying. And then he tells her what happened at Nemo's. A guy came in and stood the place up. There was a gun. He had a gun. And this, is very concerning to Deborah. She is like, "What were you doing near a gun? Who told you to go be near guns?" Ray, of course, says, "You did," which
It's true.
is true.
Kinda.
Yeah, we saw that. Yeah. But he tells her that Robert and Judy took him to the station. They booked him. They printed him. Ray had to throw up, and Judy took him home. Robert
There was a good line before that, where before Ray actually gets into explaining what happened. Deborah's just like, "Oh, come on, take your clothes off." Because he just got into bed with his shoes on. And Ray's just like, "Oh, no, I'm not in the mood." He just, quick little, they just sprinkled that one in there.
I missed that one. That's very funny.
Oh, no, that's a good line. I thought that too.
Which is an inversion of the normal, Ray is a creepy sex pest.
Well, that was
dynamic.
Yeah, that's the joke. Is he's so traumatized he can't even think about good old sex, and this is the first time we've ever seen that.
Well, actually, even though he is traumatized, his first thought is that she's asking to have good old sex. So he is still thinking about it.
Fair.
He tells her that Robert's fine, and this is where we get a little special episode. He's talking about, how surprised he was to see this. 1 minute, he's my brother who eats like this, taps his chin. And the next, he's like this cop. I like I don't like, but, I
Respect.
pick up the
Find
implication there, the connotation of cop being something that's inherently impressive, as opposed to Robert who eats like this. Very loaded line, don't you think? Ray is shocked that Robert wasn't scared. He was scared. What's the most dangerous thing I do? I let the kids jump on me without a cup.
That is dangerous.
That's a classic Ray line.
It's a
right
funny
there.
line, yeah.
Ray is impressed. He says Robert's like a hero. And what do I have? I just have this column. His is the name that should be in the paper. And light bulb. He gets up. He calls Max at the paper. Is Max his editor?
I think that's the implication, but I don't know if we've heard the name
before. Yeah,
I've
we've
never
heard
it.
my editor come up, but never Max. I'm going to connect those dots for now. And he calls him. He tells him about the ride-along that he went on with his brother. Yeah, the big guy. Yeah, the guy who eats like this. And then we sort of cut from that scene to completely unrelated, just nice pocket little bit. Allie is
lovely.
cutting her doll's hair in the kitchen. Deborah tells her that you shouldn't do that. Doll hair doesn't grow back, only people hair does. Allie's like, "Oh, okay." Jeffrey, this is I feel like this has been in the 100th episode clip package or something. Like, I feel like I've seen this joke a million times.
It's a good one. A good standalone little joke just to get the actress who plays Allie in.
Yeah, contractually.
And I will say the comedic timing on that small time.
Yeah, no,
Very,
she's
very
lovely.
Is pretty
very
good.
good in every episode. Ray comes home with the paper. He's flipping through the paper. He's obviously, excited to see Robert's article that he pitched and can't find it. He's looking for it. He finds it, and it's a picture of Ray. And the headline is Newsday's own Ray Barone survives pizza holdup. And it doesn't mention Robert at all, except for one sentence: police apprehended the suspect. Ray's response to this, I feel like, is sweet in a way. He's frustrated. He is like, it was supposed to be about Robert. And he storms out, or he is about to storm out. Deborah says, maybe he won't read the paper today. Maybe it'll be okay. Ray says, no, he's Robert. He reads it, taps his chin with it 12 times, and then reads it again. We really, we see this in the next scene, we touch on Robert's OCD a lot in this episode. I feel like the chin thing gets mentioned a lot. This, specifically calling out the counting, is like, we are really narrowing in on, they have in mind, the writers, oh, Robert has OCD, and we're going to play that for laughs.
I also will say we should have kept a running tab, because it feels like every couple episodes we get a new thing that everybody knows Robert does. He gets the chin thing. That's the only thing that feels the only thing that's consistent. He has this. He has the noise he makes at funerals. He has the reading the paper, tapping his chin 12 times. He has to sort nuts by category, and if there's not an exact even amount, he has a conniption. We really should keep like an Excel spreadsheet of all the different things that he does.
And see if it's consistent throughout the series.
It's not. I know that for a fact. Because he eats nuts and he doesn't have to sort them later on, which we could read as him getting better, but we know that that's not the case. They just forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a thing that bothered me in the moment. The timeline of this episode is all sorts of fucked. We know that Robert and Raymond are sitting down watching Cops at night, and then Robert's like, oh, I gotta go to work. So presumably, he has a night shift. That makes sense. That happens. However, he has a night shift. They go on the ride along. They're riding around for at least a few hours. They go to Nemo's. They eat the pizza. Ray needs to throw up. He goes home. I'm assuming that happens at like 1 or 2 a.m. at this point, because the shift probably starts at 9 or 10. Let's give Ray the benefit of the doubt. He makes it halfway through the night. He goes home. It's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Somehow the editor's still up. I'll give that to them. Robert still has a few hours. Does Robert sleep? Because he's home up fully clothed, no bags under his eyes, no nothing, reading the morning paper. This doesn't check out. This upsets me.
Well, I will give them this, because back when I used to work the overnight shift, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., like,
Would
when
you read the 8 a.m. paper?
Everybody else's, like, morning was my nighttime.
Yeah.
So, like, if I was, like, having breakfast with everybody, like, that was my dinner. So maybe Robert was just like, reads a bit from the paper, takes the dog for a walk, and then goes to bed.
While he's
good point.
fully clothed,
That makes sense.
not in pajamas, in a new outfit.
Yeah, his casual clothes.
That wasn't casual clothes.
There are some weird things about
There
it.
were 3
I don't
layers.
think it's entirely egregious, but there are definitely some, like, hiccups in the verisimilitude.
Right.
Nobody thought to put him in a bathrobe or, like,
They thought to put Frank in one.
show him getting home. Yeah.
Frank's just in
always
his
in one.
undies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank did not wear pants this episode, as far
Good
as
for
I
him.
can remember.
Could you imagine getting paid to not wear pants? What a life.
Yeah, it's called working from home.
So the Baroness Zonus
Couldn't
at
be me.
postfund.org/donate. Please pay us, because none of us are wearing pants right now.
Can't afford
And
it.
it would be great. Mike,
It's weird because we're all sitting next to each other at a big table.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, is the guy in the corner still paying you? It feels like it's been longer than an hour. And we are each getting a share of that $60, right?
Yeah. It was $60. It's overtime at this point, so he's paying
time and a half.
Time and a half, exactly. That's just Jeff. He just likes it. Let him be.
I love how each of your clients in your dominatro business hire you as a W-2 employee.
Yeah, they're very nice. It's very nice. They actually pay for benefits too. It's fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah, I have like 80 health insurance plans.
Your taxes must be a nightmare.
That's Bob's deal. Bob does it for free. That's his thing. He doesn't have to pay. He just does the taxes in April.
Oh, that's his kink.
Yeah, no. You see Jeff.
That's a compensation.
The one sitting
He
next to
pays
Jeff.
for
Yeah.
the service through taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
I see.
Yeah.
Me might get off on it. We don't know.
Yeah, that's irrelevant.
It's his business.
It's your business.
Literally, like his business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Robert's in the kitchen having read the paper. He folds it. He is like clearly a little like pissed off. Ray comes in as Robert is tapping. Unfortunately, we cut away in the middle of the tap, so we cannot count to make sure that he did it 12 times. But you gotta believe that knowing Brad Garrett and his commitment to the character, you know he was counting each of those 12 times.
Oh,
Sure
of
was.
course. Not even a doubt.
He remembers to do the chin thing every time as well. Ray comes in as he's tapping it and says, "Oh, you read the paper." And Robert says, "I only wish I didn't have to read it again." It's a callback to the scene that happened 3 seconds ago, but I think it works.
It does.
Ray tries to explain, says he wanted Robert to be, the subject of the article. But Robert is like, "Oh, I know what this is. This is self-promotion. You want to be all over the paper. Food, travel. Ray Barone enjoys salami sandwich. Ray financial section. Ray Barone changes paper into coin." That was my favorite one.
Yeah.
And then during that rant, Frank and Marie come in.
My favorite one was where he goes like, "Oh, you done?" He's like, "Yeah, I am. Unless you want to change your outfit today." Fashion pages. I just love the little like glitter throw that he does. I thought that was great.
Frank and Marie come in. Frank is livid. It's 8 a.m. He says no talking before 9. So we do have a fixed point in time, Mike. That it is 12 hours.
And I'm saying
it's
bullshit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Frank says no talking before 9. Marie says, "Raymond, you hungry?" And then Robert shows her the paper. She's reading right along, guns, she says, and then she grabs the paper, slaps Robert with it. "What did you do to your brother?" He could have, been in danger. Frank says, "Look at him, he's fine. Let's celebrate by making some eggs." I love Frank's like little side channel here of trying to get Marie to make breakfast.
Yeah.
Clearly she's occupied. He could get up and make them himself, but that's not Frank's way. Marie continues yelling at Robert. She says, "Your brother is gentle. Don't put him in danger anymore. No more tag-arounds." Robert says it'll never happen again because Ray can stay as far away from him as possible. And so he goes off. Marie starts making oatmeal for Raymond. Frank says,
asks
who voted for oatmeal?
Yeah.
Ray then, understandably, he yells at them for worrying about him instead of Robert. Robert was the one who disarmed the guy and saved the day and everything. And Marie sort of is silent at first and ignores him, but as he keeps talking about all the danger that Robert was in, she says, I don't like to think about that stuff. She can't think about that stuff. Obviously compartmentalizing Robert's job as like a separate thing that she just doesn't think about because it would cause her too much worry.
And I like that.
I like that. Yeah, that's nice. But we'd never see that concern reflected in her behavior towards Robert, really.
At all.
Nope.
Before or after.
Yeah. I'll buy it for this episode. Robert comes back. He's got Shamsky the dog, and he is taking him for a walk. Ray offers to go with him. Robert says he should check with his mom first. But Ray follows him outside. Marie yells at them as they go out, and this is important, to button their coats. So
Because it's
we
winter,
then
as we established with the cold open.
exactly
When it was
very
snowing.
cold
You know
open.
it. You
It's-
know it.
It's still snowing. This is our first Barone house exterior, except for the anniversary, where we saw the front of the house. This is our first time seeing the driveway, garage, recycling bins set up.
The alley.
So yeah, we see the set. Always exciting to see a new set. Ray asks Robert, "Do you always walk the dog this early?" Robert says, "I gotta get him to the park before other dogs." Ray says, "Why? Because he fights?" And Robert says, "No, shy bladder."
Relatable.
Yeah, totally. Robert
I
says,
couldn't pee in front of a bunch of dogs.
Yeah, just in a field or a park, rather.
I don't even like it when people in my house know I'm in the bathroom.
How do you
You're a real
work
stealth.
around
Yeah,
that?
I was gonna say, what do you do?
I just kind of try to do it when nobody's paying attention.
You have
I
soft
just remember
shoes?
like
Do you not lock the door because the click will make a
Yeah.
sound?
commenting
If the
to one
door
of my
is
roommates
closed,
before.
they'll know I'm in there.
Yeah.
I said to one of my roommates, I was just like, whose bedroom is across from the bathroom. I was just like, yeah, I don't even like people knowing I'm in the bathroom. And she goes, yeah, I've never seen you go into the bathroom. And I'm like, that's how it's supposed to be. As far as you're concerned, my colon doesn't work.
What an interesting hold.
Shy bladder on the dog.
Urinals
bladder
must
on
be
the dog.
public urinals must be a nightmare for you.
Oh, I
Well, he
fucking hate
wears a full cowl and
No,
mask.
urinal is not the problem. But like, I want to poop in complete and utter
Anonymity.
privacy and silence.
Oh, okay. So it's more of a conditions of you doing it than it is wanting people to know that you're doing it.
A
Right?
combination of both, but
Okay.
also like, I know we're talking about the episode, but I'm gonna prattle on about this a little bit. If I just need to use the bathroom on campus, and I will deliberately go up to a higher floor in the library because I know there's less foot traffic up there. And I'll be in the
Yeah.
stall, and if I hear somebody walk in, I will stop pooping until they leave, and then I will resume pooping.
That's incredible sphincter control.
I was gonna say. I want to go into.
I have
into
no
more,
follow-up questions.
I want to go into more detail, but this isn't Everybody Loves Raymond podcast. And I
This
feel like
is
we've
already an
gotten
episode
way-
where
This isn't Everybody Loves Poopin'.
this episode is
That's a
already going to
different
have
podcast. That's a Baroness right there.
3 continuous minutes in the middle of it with urination sound effects. So I think we got to commit at this point, but also we got to finish this episode.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we can revisit if we feel the moment's right. So hold that thought. Robert says...
Someone's in. Stop pooping.
I know you can hold it, so hold that thought. Robert says that he knows how this whole newspaper thing works. Ray works for the paper. They gotta put him in it. He knows what Ray meant to do, and he says, I don't care what people think. So he's annoyed, but he rationally thinks it out and realizes, what am I gonna do at this point? But Ray says, I'm glad that I saw that. You were something. And this apparently is the only compliment he's ever given Robert. Robert clearly, and this is good emoting from Brad Garrett.
Oh, I
clearly
thought the same thing, yeah.
choking
Looking
up,
great.
takes a second to, process that and says, thanks. There's a beat. Want to go again tonight? Works.
It's all right.
I think
Not the
to wrap
strongest
up
line.
that moment. I think they've wrapped up emotional moments a lot punchier than that before, with a bigger laugh.
I agreed.
He says no. but you want to go to the park, and they go to the park. As they're walking off, Ray says, "You gonna button your coat?" Robert says, "Nah." Ray says, "Me neither." Okay.
Fade to black.
Immediate payoff.
We need an extra hit of that buttoning the coat thing because, again, the hot clothes has nothing to do with the rest of the episode and everything to do with buttoning your coat. It's Marie is in Ray's living room. She's bringing them a tray of food, and Ray and Robert are sick on the couch watching TV.
Watching Cops.
Watching Cops, as we find out. So that is kind of a full circle moment.
Yeah. I would like to say before you continue, Adam, that both in the hot close and the cold open, how instead of just like running audio from an episode of Cops, to really just drive home the point to the audience, or not really like drive home the point, but make immediately recognizable what's going on. They just have the most cartoonish, like, op chase sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what an episode of Cops sounds like.
I've never seen an episode of Cops. I assume that's what it sounds like.
I mean, like, it's, as you pointed out, Adam, it's CBS. You know, they're both owned by the same parent company. Could they not have just put Bad Boys, like, over the TV?
Oh, that would have been a better idea.
That's a question for the
lawyers,
the publisher of Bad Boys by Inner Circle. We don't have time to delve into the intricacies of licensing and all that, but
too bad.
Marie says, maybe next time you'll listen to your mother and button your coat. We'll let that line get a laugh, and then she picks up the remote and says, "No more Cops, that's not entertainment." And we linger. She walks off. We linger on Ray and Robert for a second, and then the episode's over.
That last line that Marie gives absolutely destroys the studio audience.
Yeah.
It was a funny line.
It hit as hard in my studio audience of me, but
there's a lot going on in that line. If I wanted to be the like obnoxious English major that I am, and just like play with the idea that the last line of the episode is like Marie saying that Cops is not entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, I know this is about to be bizarre, but in Shakespearean drama, the last line of a play is like a very important line, particularly who gets to say that line. And it's not always necessarily the most important character. It might be the person who has the most to say to that moment. And like for Marie to be the character to deliver the last line and to say, like, of all things, no more Cops, that's not entertainment. I don't know. A lot going on there. It was just very rich as far as I'm concerned.
Well, doesn't it just undercut the entire point of the episode? Or not the entire
watching
point,
Cops
but like
do.
I think that was the intention of the joke.
Yeah.
Well, no, I thought the intention of
You
the
think?
joke was overprotective mother still treats her adult children like they're 5. That's what I thought it was more than.
Yeah.
I think
It
that's
could
what
be
the
a
intention
meta-
was.
It could be a meta commentary that the writers are employing to undercut the notion that watching a cop do heroic things is not entertainment.
Or it could just be the
but-
meta joke of CBS saying its own TV show is trash.
That could also be true.
Yeah.
Regardless
Or the
of what
writers
was
taking a
intended,
stab at it.
like, it can be read in all of these ways, and those are interesting reading.
True.
I think for this time and every time that you are subsequently on our show, I'm going to go back, I'm going to clip Marie saying no more Cops just so I can have it as a drop for when Schneider says something
Pedantic.
spicy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the episode. So that was season 2, episode 17, though, right along. Now we need to turn our attention to our patented barometer, sponsored by Limbrook University, and oh, look at this, Canada Dry.
That's weird.
So it's a scale from 1 to 10, on which 1 is the bad men of television history, your Don Drapers, Walter Whites, men who actively harm their family, and 10 being the great dads of all time, Danny Tanner, Carl Winslow, Uncle Phil, the scions of TV daddom. We're rating Ray's performance in this episode as a husband, son, brother, father, bootlicker. Every aspect of his performance. Let's start with our guest of honor, Schneider. Where is Ray coming in for you this episode?
Yeah, so this is a curious one because the last time I was here, we saw a lot going on. That was Terry Bradshaw episode. There was a lot of interaction with about his role as a father, as a husband. It was just a very relationally rich episode. A lot to comment on. This episode was I'm not saying myopic as a criticism. I have plenty of other criticisms of the episode, but myopic in the sense that it was really only focusing on just Ray and his relationship to his brother and the idea of policing more broadly. So it's kind of difficult to be how did he perform as a father and a husband? It's you didn't really see that in the episode. How does he perform as a brother? I mean, he does, regardless of my critique of the politics, he does a nice thing for his brother. It doesn't work out how he intended it to, but he really does. If we just imagine an alternate reality where Robert's a firefighter, this would have been a really nice gesture that I wouldn't have had any problem with.
Yeah.
So I want to give him credit for that. So I don't know. I think last time I gave him a 7, controversially. Strictly as a brother, I don't know. I'm tempted to say 8, as it is a nice thing he did for his brother. It's a really nice thing he did for his brother.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just gonna tell myself that he was a firefighter the whole time.
Wow. Schneider is officially a bootlicker, I believe, is the technical term.
Hypocrite.
Yeah. I'm going to think of it as Robert is a private security guard employed by Nemo solely to protect Nemo. A bodyguard, I guess. I'm going to give Ray I'll just come out and say it, a 6, because he does a nice thing for Robert. His intentions are good. A lot of the time I'm judging Ray on his intentions almost more than his actions, because a lot of times those intentions are not good. As a father, we do not see him interact with his children, but he is blaring cops as they're trying to sleep.
They're trying to sleep. Totally forgot about that.
His interactions with Deborah are very shallow, kind of surface level in this episode. He does not have good old sex, so I can't give him points there. I do like that he tries to hold his parents accountable for what he sees as them not appreciating what Robert does and, the danger of his job. But beyond that, he doesn't do anything exceptionally kind. I feel. Maybe I should give him a 6.5. I like that their relationship, him and Robert, their relationship is stronger at the end of the episode than it was at the beginning.
He's exceptionally more upstanding than we expect of Ray typically.
He means well, but I don't feel like he did anything truly moving or special. He realized that Robert has a very real chance of getting murdered in the line of duty, so he decides to be a little kinder to him. That's worth a 6.5 in my book. Alex.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Ray's definitely kind of more of a dick for a good portion of the episode, basically kind of undermining his brother, not really because of what he does professionally. He's really just kind of going after his brother. at the end when he really kind of comes around and tries to, put a story about him in the paper just because he wants to kind of share what his brother did and how he thinks about him. And again, outside of the whole context of the episode, how Ray was actually, his intention, I think was great. And I think he really wanted to do something nice for his brother. And of course it backfired in a funny way. And that led to a dialogue, which was so for this series. I'm comfortable with a 7.
Okay.
I'll keep it quick and to the point. I'm also going to give him a 7. I think that fine episode. It was a bit of a dick to his brother in the beginning and during the ride along, but also kind of deserved because it was funny and also brotherly ribbing isn't bad. And yeah, I think that it was really a sweet gesture to be oh, Robert doesn't get any enough credit. Let me try to fix that. I thought that was a sweet instinct. So I'm gonna come down as a 7.
Okay. 6.5, 7, 7, and 8. What does that average out to, Mike?
A 7.1 for this episode.
That seems right to me.
Yeah, it seems a little high, but I'm too lazy to change it, so we'll
You're
stick
right.
with
It
it.
does seem a little high based on the fact that I scored lower than that. So, but that's my personal opinion.
Did I fuck up the calculation?
No,
No, that's
saying
correct.
I scored less.
No, Adam's making a joke.
That's getting cut.
Cool. That's fine.
Made me look
misunderstood. I just misunderstood. All right.
No. Yeah, that makes sense to me. So that I think is all that we need to cover. We will be covering season 2, episode 18 next time. But until then, Schneider, is there anything you would like to leave the listener with? Something that you've done or something that someone else has done that you want to draw attention to, or even just some closing sentiments? That would be great.
Follow me on the Twitter at Cheeky Bigfoot.
Great name.
Abolish the prison industrial complex.
No more cops.
Pre-order Let This Radicalize You by Kelly Hayes and Miriam Kaba.
All right, very good. And you joined Twitter after, right?
After what?
After the acquisition?
No, I've been on the hell side for a couple years now.
Okay, you got the blue check mark though, right? Because otherwise I'm not.
No,
following.
absolutely not. In fact, I haven't even. This is bad operational security on my end. Have not updated the app since I downloaded it.
That's
So-
fine.
Schneider, you meaning to tell me you don't have $8?
So all of the weird, wacky changes people are complaining about that Elon is doing because he's a terrible businessman who doesn't understand tech. I haven't gotten any of them because I don't update the app. Which is, again, bad security practice. I am not advocating that you do this. It is bad security practice.
Take
But-
that, liberals.
Mike, Alex, anything to plug other than, of course, following us on Facebook and Instagram at Barone Zone. Raymond at postfund.org is our email address. Postfund.org/donate is the Baroness Zonus, and shop.postfund.org has stickers and other sundries.
I was gonna say we have shirts and tote bags and all that stuff for all your Raymond desires, and they're really good. You should buy them.
We will say they're not all your Raymond desires. They're your Raymond desires as they pertain to this show. We are not creating bootleg Everybody Loves Raymond merchandise. So,
No, of course not. Wink.
wink.
Okay, hold on a second. Legally speaking, there is
Yes.
no bootlegging happening.
Legally speaking, it's all
Original
by the book. Wink.
designs by Alex. Wink. So, other than that, anything else, or
I would like to plug.
shall we do it?
I would like to plug Cheeky Bigfoot and Elon Musk on Twitter. If you guys could just give them a follow, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's about it. All right. Until next time, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. All right. Now it's
Back to my cabin in the woods that's also at LaGuardia.
yeah, exactly.
Your cabin in LaGuardia.
We haven't driven at all. You can just hop right out.
Yeah,
Okay,
we've
yeah.
been idling in across perpendicular to all 3 lanes at passenger pickup at LaGuardia, and people are upset.
Furious.
But
That's okay, though.
this is what we gotta do. Mike,
Well, until next week, all that's left to do is our classic sign off.
Everybody Loves Raymond.
And we love you.
you.